Malo, everyone. It's Alofa Lava. Thank you so much for tuning in. This podcast was supposed to start like 30 minutes ago, but because I'm running on island time today, I ran a little bit late. So I'm really excited to have Leni on my podcast. Leni and I met at one of my best friend's weddings, and he really brought the energy. And I was like, you know what? I really need that energy on my podcast. So businesses like his are businesses that I like to promote. So please, Leni, thank you for joining me.
Nah, kia ora, man. It's really super excited to be here. I've seen your podcast a couple of times and have actually listened to it more than several times. And it's an honor and a privilege to even make it to your show, man. So must be one of the lucky ones.
You are very lucky. You're very lucky, and I'm honored to have you. I saw, the way you grind the way you were working hard at my at Anna's wedding. It was just like, I was really inspired by that. So yeah, like I said, businesses like yours are businesses that I would always make time for. So thank you so much again.
No worries.
Okay, cool. So let's start off really quickly. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Like, talk about where you grew up, your villages that you're representing, your favorite foods, anything that you'd like to share.
Jeez, man, not too sure where to start, but hey, first and foremost, it's a privilege to be here. No mai haere mai, kia ora tātou, malolei, talofa lava, bulavanaka, kia ora ana, whalawhalai atu, and where I come from, we say bonjour, so warm greetings here from New Zealand, Auckland, New Zealand. It's liquid sunshine outside. We just missed the sunshine. It was really sunny earlier on for a funeral that we had, so just a little bit of myself, born in Tonga, but raised up here in New Zealand, so what I normally tell people, I'm a Tiwi, Tongan Kiwi. And most people have a bit of a chuckle, but just coming here from Tonga when I was you're really young. I don't really remember too much. Like I said, I came up when like a 5-year-old, 6-year-old. I can't really recall. But just like majority of us Polynesians, our parents, they all came here just to give us a better life, a better opportunity, and it's being here in New Zealand has given us an opportunity for us to grow and just to, without like downgrading our parents and whatnot. Our Pacifica is, they've definitely given us a better stepping stone to basically to grow and just to get better in life. So, what do I like? I like what I like doing. Almost everything, man. I'm a rugby fanatic, league fanatic, as you can see. I purposely put that book up there. Rise off the toa, Tongan, MMT, not the toa Samoa, but yeah, love the league. Been involved with them. Foods, pretty much everything. Try and stay away from the breads. That's one of my weaknesses. Gluten intolerant, but you know what? I still have it anyway. But yeah, just pretty much just grateful for the position that I'm currently in at the moment. What my profession is, as I'm a builder by trade, project manager. That's something I did and still currently in the field at the moment. But one of my passions at the moment is just filming, live streaming, doing wedding videography, which I'll probably touch on a little bit more, how I got into this. So I think in a nutshell, Tima, that's pretty much me in a nutshell.
You know what? Speaking of bread, 90% of my friends are Tongan, and they've all tried to get me to eat bread and ice cream. And that is just a combination I'll never understand. And I'm just wondering, is that something that you like to eat as well?
I think it's just growing up, I'll just be honest, we're very poor when we came in back from Tonga, and we lived pretty much on bread and eggs and noodles and butter. None of this margarine stuff, but just butter. And, if I could live on 2 foods, it'd probably just be bread and butter.
Yeah, same. Yeah, no, of course. I think we all share, a lot of us share that story of coming from humble beginnings. And so, yeah, so thank you so much. So let's get straight into it, because when we were getting ready for the wedding, and my friend said, she was really excited about it. Like, she was really excited about having a live stream. She was like talking about it like something that she was really proud of. She's like, yeah, we've got a live streamer. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And she said that it was Lopstream. She was really excited. So when I saw you at the wedding, you were doing an amazing job along with everyone else. Shout out to all the wedding planners behind the scenes. But just talk to us about how you got into this industry and how Lopstream came about.
Oh man, I hope you guys got a few minutes up your sleeve. Lopstream, how it came about. Basically, it was an accident. Most people they see me Lopstream. Okay, it probably stands for Leni, something. Most people try and figure it out. But long story short, a few years back, I was I think back then you're allowed to drive and text. So a few years back, me and my friends were just texting using WhatsApp, and I can remember on the off ramp, off driving down to Mangere Bridge on Beta Drive. I kept on texting and it kept on going LOP. What it's supposed to sound like, what it's supposed to do is supposed to be LOL, laughing out loud. And I feel, our group chat was going, what's LOP? What's LOP? And it's like, so I just made a joke about it and say, you know what, it's coming. So it's just sparked the curiosity. And and so we always joked about if we ever started a building company or we ever start a company in general, we'll call it LOP. We thought it was just quite catchy. Fast forward to 2000, I think fast forward to 2019. My wife, she runs a business. We run a business as well. A little plug-in for her, tkt&co.events. And she wanted me to do something. And I said, oh, yeah, I want to get into videography, but I really do not like the editing part of it. For all those editors out there, it's the editing side. Yourself, Tima, you do a lot of editing as well in your podcasts. And it's probably something that you try and avoid or try and just simplify as much as you can. So, back then, live streaming, I saw live streaming, people just live streaming like on their phones and whatnot. So I was like, I want to delve into live streaming. And so what got me into live streaming was it's just no editing. It's live. You're catching them in that moment. But let me just detract for a bit. So one of the things that I got into live streaming or the platform that I'm currently using as well is generally phones. But prior to that, for those quite tech savvy. There's smaller cameras out there called GoPros. So in my earlier days, I was doing videography. I was out with my mates doing hunting and fishing, and I really liked the form factor of these GoPros. So in doing a whole bunch of research and in just looking for things that would tick some of the boxes for me, being small, being portable, being just almost like invisible is, I came across this system right here. So I'm kind of gone off track at the moment. So, so in starting up my company, my wife asked me, so what do you want to call your company? And I pitched her the idea and about this name, and she kind of said, no, I don't think so. And, long story short, we called it Lopstream. The color, bright green. I wasn't going to do it. Sorry, my tokos. I wasn't going to do it red because I didn't want to, I wasn't going to be red. So I thought about just doing something just going to be pop. As we go through this podcast, you'll get a pattern from a few of the things that I'm going to be talking about is just being unique, being different. Because long story short, if we watch these programs like American Idol, those talent shows, we've pretty much almost seen it all. So, so I've kind of gone with this name, Lopstream. Didn't want to call it productions or videography or anything like that. So I think that's pretty much in a nutshell, Tima.
I mean, you've definitely solved a huge problem because, with COVID especially, not just COVID, but the price of airfares these days, even before COVID, airfares were expensive. You've really solved that problem of those of us who are overseas and we can't really attend events back home. I feel like that's amazing. And so I'm just wondering, just with you explaining that, because you're a builder by trade, are you self-taught in this industry?
Pretty much self-taught. I do have a guy. I would say my wife's probably going to laugh at the back. So I would say he's my mentor, because I've actually asked him a few questions. So a lot of the gear and a lot of by the way, his name is Chris Carson, Steady Ready. Look him up on Facebook. He runs free stuff, and you can learn from him. So pretty much his gear is a pretty much 100% replica of what I use. It's just my styles that's just a little bit different from him. But self-taught. a couple of my videography things, it kind of helps me. I'm not sure, Tima, if you had a chance to watch the live stream. So my style is pretty much like a videography type of live streaming style. No disrespect to anyone who's going to be listening who is a live streamer or a videographer. I just don't sit still. Seriously, I just don't sit still. And, you know, like just going with the trends at the moment. Like I said, don't want to offend anyone. One camera is just not going to cut it, to be honest. You know, like you're just going to get bored. So it's just switching cameras, getting some movement, getting some walk-ins. As she said, just really trying to hype people up. And my overall goal when I do live streaming, it's a little bit hard with the funerals, but especially with the weddings and celebrations, my ultimate goal is to make those who are at home feel like they're a part of the wedding celebrations.
It really is an experience. And I remember when I was watching it back, watching Anna's wedding back, it was like, you know, again, you really have achieved that goal of making people feel like they were there. Like my dad was here in Sydney at the time; he couldn't come to the wedding, and he was like, "Who was filming? This was really good," you know. And he you know, and he's an old guy; he doesn't know anything about tech, but he really appreciated that. So. Yeah. So it's really so good feedback on my end, and also with you, I'm not trying to make you feel bad, but like we don't even notice that you're there. I truly didn't notice you were there. Like you literally are invisible. So like, you know, when I was doing the Siva and then I watched it back, I was like, I didn't even notice you at all. Like it's really amazing. Is that something that you intentionally do?
Do you know what, man? Don't laugh, eh? If you're listening to this, like some people it's like think, oh man, isn't he embarrassed getting so close? Is he embarrassed? Like honestly, I feel like I'm invisible. I'm not a small guy, by the way, but but I just feel like invisible. Like honestly, my primary goal is to get the best angle and to get the best shot as possible. Whether it's to get my shoes dirty, I mean, like it was quite muddy afterwards. Whether it's get my shoes dirty or get my clothes dirty or whatnot is getting just unique shots and like how did this person get that shot, or where was he, or where was that camera? But yeah, it's just you know, in answer to the question, I just, like I said, it's gonna sound really stupid. Like I just feel like I'm invisible. I mean, wearing black helps. I thought about wearing like bright green, but then people might think I'm a construction worker out there. But nah, I'll just stick to the black.
Yeah, no, that's cool. And you know, with all because you don't just stream planned events, you also stream funerals, and I'm wondering, you must be quite organized with your time. And you know, any organization tips, you know, any time management tips is useful for anyone in any industry. So yeah, like, are you more useful with your time compared to the average person or business owner?
I think everyone's, as we all know, us business owners, there's 24 hours. Everyone's got the same amount of time. Is basically how to utilize it. Just a side note, my wife and I, we drove down to the airport, not to the airport, but to the warehouse. And generally, when we drive down, we see these quotes. And one of the quotes said, "Never say you have enough time," because we all have time. It's just how important time is to us. And so what I try and do is try and carve out time or time management to try and just make things happen. But you know, I do have some tools that I maybe later on at the end of this podcast I'll share a few of my secrets. Some tools that literally help me with my social media, some tools that literally help me with the live stream. Some people might think, oh man, this guy's literally on social media 24/7. But there are tools out there that can help us like schedule your story, schedule things, and just post it at an optimal time. They cost money, but it's a tool. It's a tool.
Yeah, not just a tool, but also an investment, especially if you want to be serious. And that's for any content creators out there. And I love that because I use that as well. So what I find myself doing is I just schedule like 1 hour where I'm like scheduling all the content, and then it just like, you'd think that I was behind my screen all the time, which I kind of am. But there's more time, like more wiser ways of doing that. So do you think that live streaming has really changed the game for Pacific events? You know, because we've all seen our aunties out there live streaming with their tablets and whatnot during events. But do you think that your service has really changed the game for us?
I definitely think so. You know what? In answer to your question, yes, I definitely think so. There's some huge benefits, but let me just delve into a couple of things. Live streaming has pretty much have helped people. Imagine if we didn't have live streaming when the pandemic hit. You know, so let me just rewind a bit. I don't know if I covered this, but just tell me if I have. You know, prior to COVID, like I said, I was delving into live streaming, and when I found my platform, I might be jumping the gun here, but you know, I was literally doing events. I was literally just doing events for free. You know what I mean? When I say for free, like for zero, like it was just my time. And the reason why for that was, and this is, just bear in mind, this is pre-pandemic, was for me to just go and test out the gear, what works, what doesn't work. And if I stuffed up, it wouldn't have mattered because they're not paying me for it anyway. But in answer to your question, Tima, yes, it has. You know, you mentioned earlier on, like events. You know, I did a funeral today, doing another funeral tomorrow, but also, you know, for the airfares and also for the economy at the moment, on the prices and everything's just gone up, and the inflation, sometimes it can be very, very difficult. And it's kind of like brings it back to what I've just tried saying. You know, I don't really want to be a point and shoot. I really want to create an experience for the people who are tuning in, because it's their time as well. You know, I mean, you want them to enjoy the celebration, but yeah, live streaming has changed the game. Couple of benefits. Number one, if you don't mind me just saying this, is I think for me, without delving, and there's pros and cons, and you know, live streaming and videography, I think we're comparing apples and oranges. You know, for me, is live streaming is basically once you're done, you can go back and rewatch. Where some of this videography stuff, and I've been there before, it's gonna, you know, in wedding peak season, which we're kind of like getting into the wedding season now at the moment, is, man, you could wait up to weeks, if not months, to get your final footage. And one of the huge benefits for live streaming is like, I don't know if you notice, Tima's like, in that week, so I call it the 7-day week, the 7 days where it's you gotta continue to strike while the iron's hot. So generally, when you're, like I said, I'm not downing all these videographers and photographers and whatnot. You know, by the time you get your stuff, you're probably like in 30 days, 60 days, and I know, don't get me wrong, you kind of like lost that heat from that week, if you kind of like know what I mean. So that's why when you see me, I'm pumping out, so I follow it up with an email. I try and get this digital copy out to the client, and I follow it up with reels just to engage and just keep that in the moment for the next 7 days. But like back to your question, yeah, live streaming has changed the game, and it's been a huge beneficial, not just for myself, but just for the world as well.
No, 100%. And I totally agree with that. Like, not that I've been married before, but yeah, no, I totally agree with, like, a lot of my friends have been married, cousins have been married, and they're always like, when they tell me, oh, we had to wait for another month for our footage. And I'm just like, really, you know, and yeah, you're right. The buzz does die down a little bit, but no disrespect to other creatives or videographers out there. I'm someone that I would definitely prefer live streaming over that, and that's just my opinion. So event planning gets really stressful, and you know, I'm sure your wife knows that as well. You've mentioned that she has her own business as well. And I saw you at Anna's wedding. You were behind the scenes helping the girls out, really, and it was amazing. And you know, I don't think people realize this, but live streaming, especially yourself, I don't know about other live streamers, but for yourself, you really are part of that event management team. So how do you keep calm throughout events, especially like when there's that pressure to get in there and get the right angles, and, you know, have to not step over people, but, you know, kind of walk in front of people and all of that. So how do you keep calm during all of that?
I don't know. I think you just roll the punches. I mean, a little bit of experience. Like, I'll be honest. Like in my early days, you know, like a lot went wrong. And I'll be honest, man. Like live streaming, like if it was easy, everyone will be doing it, right? Every single person. You know, a lot can go wrong with live streaming. Internet can go down. Someone hits your modem, it goes off. And, you could miss that moment where videography, you just, and like I said, no disrespect. Videography, you just press play and away you go, and there's no literally pressure. But how do you keep calm? I think for me, it's just being super prepared, having Zoom meetings, majority, like these meetings, we're having this podcast. You're in Sydney, I'm in Auckland, Zoom meetings, just touching base, and the technology and the tools that we currently have, which I'll touch on later on, that I use, that helps me just streamline my business. It is a game changer. I get in there early, and one of the reasons why I get in there early, there's a I can't remember, a book that I read by Byron Nelson. He says usually when you go into an interview or to a different setting, it usually takes about 15 to 20 minutes to get used to that setting. So one of the reasons why I get in, this is one of many reasons why I go in there early, is to get familiar with myself with that. That was actually my first time shooting at Winsford Garden. But another tip, it was very, very good. Another tip is just number one, why get in super early, and like if you're listening to this, make note of this, is you go in there and you build relationships. You know what I mean? Like you said, I saw Queen V, she, and the girls, they're like lifting the chairs, like, come on, man! Like seriously, I was done setting up, and I wasn't going to sit down on my chair and just see them roll down the hill with the chair, with the chairs. I said, nah, man, I wasn't going to help these sisters out. So, and it's like, I didn't do it for the fact that just, I'll probably get some brownie points later on, but it's just going out there and genuinely helping, and just go and help them out.
Yeah. Relationship building is it's one of the most important investments you can make. And I don't think people realize that. So that's a really important, that's amazing. I'm just wondering here, you were amazing. I've got another question here. So you were really amazing at Anna's wedding. So for all my other mates out there, even for myself, let's say I get married in Jesus' name, please, one day. What can couples expect from that? Like, what's your process?
So basically, it's, basically we just have an online form. You click on the form, you fill it out, and we generate a quote for you. Okay. Sometimes that's how simple it is. And it just spits out a quote for you, and, you accept, decline, make a comment. Like I said, we have all these tools that literally help us. And, there are some couples, I don't meet them until the wedding day. Sometimes we don't even have a Zoom, you know what I mean? So, and it's just like, it's so like, I don't know what the word is, but it's so cool or so ironic that, people's already paid you and they expect you to turn up. You know what I mean? It's just like, it's all based on trust. But, I think that's just the world that we currently live in at the moment. Everything's just tick, tick, tick. You pay, you expect to be there. And you just, like I said, it's just online form and away you go.
Yeah. Are there any barriers, like especially for, not sure if you've done these types of events before, but, with really traditional Tongan or Samoan or any kind of events where I think, because I've been to this event, right, and there was a live streamer there, and he walked in front of some of the pastors, the Whaiwhikau's in Tongan, and then there was they had to stop that whole thing, or they needed to stop, but they had to move, and it really disrupted the live stream. Have you ever had any of those tough challenges during a working day or within your business?
I've never had the experience, and there's a few things that that you can do to prevent that. It's just by doing your homework. Long story short, sorry for sharing all these stories. So I had a story. I had a friend. I was in Hamilton in an event. This was a few years back, and he messaged me, and we joke around, man. Like we literally joke. And he goes, "Oh, why don't you do a live stream?" And goes, "Yeah, man, who for?" And he goes, "Oh, yeah, for my aunt's birthday, and the Queen is gonna be there." And I go, "Mate, don't pull my leg, man. Honestly, the Queen, seriously." Anyways, long story short, we rock up. And we find that the Queen is actually coming. And, as you know, the cultural, so I went there underdressed. I mean, so I had to go and get some mats and whatnot. And so when we found out the Queen was like there, so we just, obviously, my style, Tima, obviously there's no walking in front of the Queen, there's no circling around and doing any of that stuff. It was literally, I did walking around from the back, but not as much as I usually do. So generally when we know there's like rules or obviously there's 5 hours, you're going to definitely be respectful on where they sit and stuff. And thank goodness that I'm a poly, that I kind of like have the basic idea on that kind of stuff. We just tend to try and stay away from it. And the good old model, if you're unsure, just don't do it.
100%. You mentioned before, now I can't stop thinking about this, but you mentioned before a book. I'm someone that loves reading, but I'm more of an audiobooks kind of person. But what are some of your favorite books or books that inspire you or motivate you to be the best version of yourself?
I think number one, Think and Get Rich by Robert Kiyosaki, How to Win and Influence People as well. That's a big one. That's a big one. It just teaches you how to just deal with people in general, so I haven't really read them, to be honest. I just listen to them on the podcasts. But a lot of,
Cool. I think we're frozen. No, we're good. We're good.
No, you're good. You're good.
No, that's all right. That was just a random question I thought I'd throw in there. But I'll edit that part out. That's all good. I know firsthand how tough, and we've talked about business a little bit in this episode. I know firsthand how tough business can be. How do you keep yourself motivated through those tough times, during business?
Just got to remember where you first came from. Without getting emotional, like we literally, us people, our parents, we literally came from nothing, you know what I mean? So, to where we are at the moment, like I read a quote, I don't know where I saw this or read this or might have thing. It says, when times gets tough, or just remember where you came from. And it just reflected, like when I started my business, I had this envision, because I was quite envious of my wife. I was like, man, you're so lucky. I mean, she's not lucky. She had to work herself to get to that point. And I was like, man, I wish I can't wait till I get to a point where bookings just come. Bookings just come. And I think now I'm sort of getting to that point where bookings come obviously through my efforts and through my reputation. But, when things just are tough, you just gotta for me, I just always remember where I came from and how I started this business and how hard, and it just motivates me to work harder, but also work smarter as well. Work smarter. Can I just add one thing, Tima, before we think? Another tip. Can I just add this, man? Another tip is to do things that you do not want to do, things that you don't want to do. And I want to just share an example. This year, I made a goal to go hard on Instagram. I was anti Instagram, man. I was anti last year, all those previous years. I was like, so I bit the bullet and just made some goals. And Instagram has just been a game changer for my business. Can I be honest? Do I like making reels? Do I like doing posts on Instagram? Nah, man. I can't stand it. But unfortunately, if you want to grow your business, like I said, you got to do things that you don't like doing. And it's just it's a free tool, and it's a tool that is so easy to put your business and your thing. And you like, most people might jump on mine and say, oh, look, he's got so much followers, or wow, look at his reels. Seriously, if you scroll down to the reels and how I started, like, they were awful. Like, there was like, oh my, I feel like deleting them, but whatever you do not delete them, because the Instagram people, the guys that I follow on Instagram, say don't delete it because it ruins the algorithm and stuff. But just keep chipping away, just keep working away. When times are tough, man, all it takes is just one client. All it takes is just one client. Sorry, Tim, I want to share another story. I did this event at one of the top venues, and massive shout out to the team at Alley Estate. They rolled the dice for me. I was so nervous. I think this was like 2020. I can't remember too much. So they rolled the dice, and I was so nervous. I was there like a few days prior, doing my testing, came back, went back again, did my testing. And just from that one event, I'm pretty much the main live streamer at Alley Estate. So, just continue working. It just takes one client or one post or one job or one hello, and you could potentially be set up for the rest of your business.
I absolutely love that, and please feel free to share as many stories as you want. I have all the time in the world, and I'm happy to have you honored to have you on my platform. But I love that you said that you don't delete your old reels, and I love that too, because I feel like that's really inspiring, especially for people like me. And you're definitely one of the business people that I look up to. I'll definitely follow your wife after this, and it's cool because you see the progress, and you see that everyone, 100%. No matter how good they are now, they've all started somewhere. They've all started somewhere. Yeah.
Can I add, we all start with...
Yes, I really...
Sorry to add, we all start with 0 followers. Gary Vaynerchuk, he goes, you know what? We all start with 0 followers. We got to start somewhere. Sorry to cut you off.
No, you're not cutting me off. That's all good. Of course, we all got to start somewhere, and it's really encouraging. Because another reason why I really appreciate you bringing that up is because social media is tough. It's discouraging, comparison, comparing yourself to others. It actually becomes quite distracting. But it is a great investment. Like Anna, she told me she planned her whole wedding on Instagram. Because Instagram's a good app, especially for events, because it's quite a mature app. A lot of adults use it, like girls my age, in their 30s that use it. As opposed to TikTok, where it's a lot of young kids dancing, which isn't always very helpful.
It is a good platform though. Like I joined TikTok this year, and that's just sorry to cut you off. That's just purposely just to cover more ground. You know what I mean? Cover more ground. I've got a few clients off TikTok, but majority is Instagram and Facebook. So.
That's awesome. So did you get to meet the Queen?
I did get to meet the Queen.
At that event?
Yeah, at that event. So I did get to meet her as a very honourable. It wasn't her birthday, it was someone else. It was like 50th Jubilee, like her birthday. But like I said, we got to meet. It was refreshing. It was something different. Like last week we had another event. Her youngest daughter attended that one. So once again, I had to. Luckily, she was on top of the stage, so I could do my thing below. But obviously, there's a few protocols and few things that you had to do just in case.
Yeah. I've been to an event, and the princess was there. And, I did my bow and everything, you bow before so it's very special when you have real, honorable VIPs at any event. Like, I always just feel really cool when there's someone, awesome there. And so how does your culture, so speaking of that, how does your culture play a role in Lopstream?
Culture is always a huge part. Honestly, culture is very important. Obviously, there's a whole bunch of respect. Culture helps me also just be very lenient. When it comes to funerals and weddings and stuff, we are very lenient on how we, let's just say, get money off people. You know what I mean? We know it's a huge expense, and for us, it's like, you know what? Just give us a deposit and we can work something out later on as long as you've committed. I think that's just come with the culture aspect part of it, because I think you and I know, Tongan, Samoans, I think the Tongans, I'm gonna say it, I'm Tongan anyway, we're the worst, man. We splurge quite a bit. So, through the culture, that helped me quite a bit. From a culture as well, just mixing and mingling with people, that's kind of helped me just stay grounded as well. Not to be go out there and say I'm the man or anything. Just us polys just like to just keep our head down and bum up and just continue to work.
I know that there are a lot of business owners there, or not a lot, but I would say like there are quite a few business owners that do tune into the podcast, and they've all mentioned issues around collecting payment of customers. And it's not an issue that we talk about enough, but it is actually a real issue. And I always appreciate stories like that because, it's kind of like a good way of hinting to our people. I'm going to say it Samoans as well. We do this. Hinting to our people to really respect our specific business owners. Like, I don't think that, some of I was part of the Pacific Business Hub in Manukau, and the way that we would treat each other, but our people would treat other business owners, I don't think that they would treat a Balangi business owner the same way. So, do you have any stories or any examples of where you've kind of struggled to communicate the importance of payment for any events? You don't have to, please don't mention the event specifically, but if you have any similar like stories around that, that'll be really awesome to hear.
Seriously, man, honestly, I've been very fortunate, like very, very fortunate. Without naming the events, I still have some people like still chipping away on their funeral stuff and payments. And I think in this day and age, it's just communication, you know what I mean? And like knowing the fact, sometimes I've come across some people that could be, I haven't come across, but you've heard stories that like, man, they're bridezilla, but then afterwards they're like really good people. It's just the stress and the pressure, you know what I mean? And this day and age that we live in for the whole digital media and this digital aspect, it's a lot of pressure on some of these couples. And my wife and I kind of like had a discussion on this is sometimes, the couples are just so embedded to try and make the event look so great. There's so much pressure on them to make it look great because, when their friends or family and whatnot come to the event and they take photos and, oh man, that's pretty stink. Oh, wow. What, so yeah, there's so much pressure, but for us, we've been very, very fortunate that nothing has happened to us. For us, it's just having communication, and we let them up front know to say, hey, we understand you have a wedding or a funeral or whatnot. We just require this. And if you don't have the funds, and sometimes you can sense there's just a lot going on, and just say, you know what? You take care of your family stuff first. We want your wedding to be one of the best weddings in the world. We're here to help and support. Go on your honeymoon, come back, and we can sort that later on. You know what I mean? And go, are you for real? Yeah, for real. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I think if you just have some communication, then I think you should be good. So touch wood.
No, awesome. That's good. And I'm glad that nothing like that has happened. I hope nothing bad ever happens or you ever have to have those tough conversations. Because, I can imagine how tough it would be. How does it feel? I shared one of your videos today and it was just, not an MMC supporter at all. Yeah. But honestly, like I said, 90% of my friends are Tongan. 2 of my best friends are Tongan. I've been in both of their weddings. So there's nothing that beats those mawhana moments. And I'm just wondering for you, you get to experience it all the time. How does it feel when you're at an event and you're capturing those special, heartwarming mawhana moments?
Wow. Without me trying to get teary at the moment. You know what? I'm not just saying this because you were on the podcast and your friend Anna and Saki, we just had their wedding as well. But was it his sister? Was it her Saki's sister that walked her down the aisle?
Yeah. Well, that's Saki's older sister. Yeah.
Yeah. That was like, wow, man. It's like, yeah, that was really touching for me. I mean, trying to film, live stream, and yeah. So you got those moments when you have the first dances. Sometimes. With us poly, sometimes it can get very, very emotional. I've been to many first dances with the bride and her dad or who not have their first dance, and it's very, very emotional. And sometimes I do have a tear here and there, and but it's cool, man. It's really, really cool. And without talking myself up, I try and get right in there. I don't know if you saw a few times where I got right in there when Saki was dancing with her sister and Anna was dancing with her dad. It's just trying to capture those moments. Then also you got those those mafana moments and those fear moments, like your Siva. If you want to just jump on my AG, you can check out Tima performing her Siva. But we can have that conversation later on if you want. But you did an amazing job, by the way. Seriously, if you didn't tell me that you're learning to do a Siva, I probably thought, yeah, wow, I mean, you're like a pro.
Thank you. No, I have to give a shout out to my friend Jenny. She actually taught me. But yeah, I actually, like I said, like you got those of you who are listening, you've probably seen it. My post. Yeah, I always joked around with Anna. Anna and I have been good friends for a very long time, and like I always joked around with her. And then one day she was like, "Nah, for real, can you do a Siva?" And then if she wasn't one of my best friends, I would have said no. I've declined doing Sivas for other Tongan friends before. But Anna's different. Anna was like one of, it truly is. I've shared some special moments. I actually introduced her in Saki. Which was, yeah, I like to brag on about that actually.
Yeah,
I
remember.
How does it feel when you're? Sorry, carry on.
No, I remember you mentioning that. But anyways, yeah, that's cool. That's a very, very amazing.
Yeah.
story.
No, I introduced him. Yeah, every time she tries to like give me attitude, I'm like, remember who introduced you? Okay. Yeah, no, she honestly, I'm scared of her though. Don't underestimate that girl, honestly. But anyway, man. So what advice do you have for anyone who has a dream to get into live streaming events and would like to join you? Because I already know Lopstream's going to go huge. It's like already so amazing right now. But for anyone who would like to, join you and help you build your business, who really align with your energy, the energy that you bring to events, what advice do you have for them?
First and foremost, seriously, number one is I never did this for money. I did it because it's something you enjoy. So you really, really got to enjoy what you do no matter what. Because at the end of the day, if you're doing it for money, it's just going to, the passion. If the passion's not there, then, it's just not going to happen. So number one, you got to have the passion. Yeah. I think the second thing is there's so much information on the internet. You know what I mean? So the platform that I currently run on, or some people, like, in my early days, when people didn't know who I was, I rocked up. I'm not too sure. I literally got two bags. And it's literally like a roll-on suitcase and a backpack. So all my 6 cameras, my tripods, my thing, they all roll in there. So that's the system that works for me. It might not work for you. So do some research. Like I said, look up Chris Carson on Steady Ready. On Facebook, join his Facebook group. He's like the man. There's another live streamer that you probably heard of. He's also based in Sydney. We collaborate. We all talk all the time. Literally last week we had a conversation. He reached out to, and we just had a general chat. Paula Moi Moi. You know what I mean? That name, he's a goat. That guy's a goat. When people think I'm the man, that guy's the man, man. That guy's the man in live streaming. So do reach out. If you want to reach out and just reach out to me and just say, hey, man, I want to get into it. What do I need to do? Man, I'm so happy for you to jump on board and browse some ideas. But there's so much information. There's so many ways to live stream. You just got to pick a system that literally works for you, because what may work for me might not work for you as well.
Yeah. Who inspires you?
My wife inspires me. She's quite creative as well. She's quite competitive. I don't know. I just like winning, man. Honestly, I just like winning. I just like dominating. I come from can I just put a plug in there? I used to play for Ponies back in the day, and we win. You know what I mean? So, but like on that note, can I just share this? Gary V. I'm a huge fan of Gary Vee. He also mentioned something, and this is something I want to do quite often. And so instead of competing with each other, collaborate with each other. So you both win. Yeah. You know what I mean? So yeah. So yeah, I mean, what inspires me? Just want to we don't have kids any moment, but just want to have a better life than what I grew up. My mom's not around. She passed away in 2014. And I wish someone did the live stream for me, but it's something I didn't get into back in those days. But like I said, like our parents came over here to give us a better life, a better opportunity, a better platform to to jump on to get it to another level. And you know what, like if you're listening to this, probably the younger generation, you know, I can remember as a story when I was growing up, you know, I can remember when I was in bed getting ready for high school, my mum was either walking in or walking back out to go for a second job. You know what I mean? So she inspires me to work hard.
Yeah. No, I love that. The energy that you bring to, like, the energy that you have on social media and bring to events is truly is inspiring. And that's why I wanted to ask you that, because I'm like, well, you know, where does all this come from? But it might be because you're Tongan as well. And I feel like Tongans are really lit. I enjoy Tongan events way more than I do Samoan events. Trust me. Like, you know, I'm sure, have you live streamed Samoan events before?
I have. I've done a few Samoan events, and I just like I just go berserk. Yeah. I love events in general. One of the reasons why I was probably I wouldn't say psycho, but like really super excited. I think a couple of days ago I did a funeral. I was very, very sad. But anyways, man, I came in. I was just super excited, and I think I was even more excited. Like, yeah, we're sitting up, and I was like, it was raining, and it was on and off. I was like, oh, come on, man, please. Then it was sunshine. I was like, yeah, let's go. You know what I mean? And just, So, you know, I try and incorporate some of my energy into the bridesmaids, into the grooms, and, you know, that, everyone's got some excitement in them. It's just trying to draw it out. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Yeah, no, 100%. No, 100%. Yeah, actually, speaking of Anna's, I'll go back to Anna's wedding. So my partner in the line is actually her baby brother. And Anna was saying that he's quite a shy person anyway. So I feel like you know, you hyping us up really played a role into him being so confident. I feel like we had the best entrance. I don't know, but that's just me. I feel like we were like the best duo in my opinion. But you're so lucky, because that's one of my favorite parts of a wedding, like getting to see the entrances and seeing everyone getting all hyped up. Like, do you get to eat for free as well at events?
Yeah, I got to eat, you know what I mean? But like for me personally, my priority is to stream and capture capture the footage and capture just people in general. I snuck in some food. Yeah. When I can, I mean, you know, poly events, there's always food and there's always more to take home if you want to take home as well. But sure. Yeah, and people like, they're seriously like, her dad, Anna's dad came and gave me some food as well. And everyone's so friendly, you know what I mean? It was such an amazing event. Yeah.
You know, speaking of Gary Vee, like just backtracking a little bit, you know, I feel like every guy that I know that follows his methods and really, you know, invest their time into his content, I feel like they do really well in their businesses. You know, that's just me anyway. Like, I love how he mentions, like, 'cause some people don't want to post up too much content because they're scared they're going to get annoying. Whereas I think one of Gary Vee's tips, I don't follow him, but I follow him on LinkedIn, and I saw one of the things that he posted, and he was saying, like, to always upload content as much as you can, you know, upload, like, do long form content, cut it up into pieces, upload it, you know, don't be afraid of that. But I don't know. That's just me. So I know, I just thought I'd throw that in there.
Yeah, he's an interesting character, you know what I mean? There's like I said, you know, like, you know, there's so much. Gary Vee, another podcast that I listen to, is, I'm not sure if you've come across it, Tima, is Think Media podcast. They're very good. They've just come out with some good content ideas. There's a few others that I follow as well. So in my spare time, man, I'm generally researching. I'm generally looking at things, just to try and optimize my business. And without getting really technical, if you want me to touch on it, I can, on how to get optimized reach, how to get more followers, what hashtags to use, when to post. And you know, like, we have all these tools. And a good friend of mine, you probably know of him, Tony Lolu, who runs Digital Discipline, and I talked to him one time and said, mate, you have mad props to you, and I know what you're trying to do. But then when you got people like myself, who needs to hook people into a content and get them to stay in there longer and try and get them to watch the next video, mate. And props to him, but yeah, that's what we try and do, man, is try and hook and try and keep like short form content is the thing. May I add that when I started making short form content, I really struggled to make, instead of making 3-minute, 5-minute highlight videos for people, to condense them into 5 seconds, 7 seconds. I hate to say it. I think, I don't know about you, Tima. Sorry, I don't mean to take over. What do you think about these highlight videos that videographer? And once again, I'm not downing these videographers, but for me personally, I struggle to watch highlight wedding video for 3 to 5 minutes. That's just me.
Yeah, me too. Unless I'm in it, I'm not watching the whole thing. And I'll be truly honest there. Yeah, I watched your ones because I was in it. I wanted to see if you got my good angles. So I watched that one.
Oh, I got those angles. But, don't worry, man. I got those angles.
Yeah. For me, it's 30 seconds or less. However, or not even that. Like, it just depends. Generally, no, 5 minutes is too long for me. Unless I'm actually invested in that topic or whatever. So if I was planning a wedding, I'd go ahead and watch it. But generally, when you're trying to, when there's so much competition out there, there's so many people, so many events to try and book. I'm not a fan of it. I personally wouldn't. Yeah, but it's I can understand why you feel like it'll be hard, because trying to fit in, so much content in a little bit of time, that is tough. Yeah.
Yeah, it's super tough, man. It's super tough. And can I also add, like, some of the music that I use for my reels, I don't even like them, seriously. But why do I choose it? You probably know this, Tima. It's what's currently trending at the moment. Another tip, and is I use an app. I paid for it. I use an app called Trend. Is it Trend Reels? Okay, and basically what Trend Reels is gives you trending sounds. Just gives you trending sounds and has different countries, and then it also has a graph that you can pick, or you can use it and know it's going to peak at a certain time. You know what I mean? So look it up, Trend Reels.
Trend Reels. Okay, cool. No, that's cool. You're so generous with all of this information. But you know how I can understand, like, it's like me. Sometimes I use the same songs in my stories, but yeah, because it's trending and everyone's using it. But what kind of music do you like? What kind of music do you like to listen to? All
sorts, really, like 1 week it's country, 1 week it's R&B, 1 week it's like, seriously, do not laugh. Sometimes at the gym, I just listen to like love songs or wedding songs, and that's just to help me with my stories, whatnot. And sometimes it's just getting some songs just picking a song that's going to suit the couple as well. But yeah, I'm all over the show, man, sometimes, So it's just sometimes I just listen to music to help me figure out what songs I'm going to use for a future event. May I add, I got a wedding that I'm doing in about January, February, I think in February, and I used you probably heard of a group called Malo.
Yes.
I can't remember the song. It wasn't. Anyways, I used one of their songs, and they actually posted it up on their stories and the thing, and the girl's family goes, "Wow, you made Maoli's like story thing. How are they gonna come and sing at your wedding?" And she jokingly told them, "Yeah, they're coming over." But I mean, they weren't coming over. But yeah, it's just I just as for music as what comes. Sometimes it's just But nothing beats old school stuff. I love old school R&B.
Oh, 100%. Old school all the way. Old school music, old school TV series. I mean, I listen to music now, and my little cousins, I had to ban some of the music they're listening to. And it's like a lot of you're not even enunciating the words. Like, you don't even know what they're saying half the time. There's no story. There's no poetry. So it's like, I hardly appreciate good music, like music these days. But that comes to the end of our podcast. So, well, end of my questions, not the end of a podcast. Hey, I got all the time in the world. But what's some of the equipment that you use, just for anyone that's watching and might need a little bit of tips? You've been generous already, which I really appreciate. But yeah, talk to us about the equipment that you're using.
So the platform that I use, one of the platforms that I use is it's called Switcher Studio. It is a subscription based. So basically that's the live stream platform that I use. But man, like seriously, as for gear, for the basics, I use an iPad and also 3 or 4 iPhones, and they stand on, give me a second, let me grab this. Yeah, so if you can see this. So basically, if you don't know what this is, it's just a DJI gimbal and an iPhone mounts on it. Yeah, that's right. If you don't know, if you've seen my content or you've seen my videos and my live stream, I stream off iPhones, iPhone 14s. That's what I currently stream off at the moment. All my reels, all my photos on iPhone. I'm not sponsored or paid by Apple. Wish I was. But even this camera right now, I've done some magic to it to stream. It's my iPhone 14 Pro. And just a little bit of lighting here and there. I kind of like messed up with my lighting, but never mind. I'll fix that next time. But yeah, iPhones, DJI gimbal, an iPad, and for my sound, I'm just charging this for tomorrow. I'm using these Rode Go audio. Audio is huge, you know what I mean? So most people think, oh yeah, live stream, but for me, I actually prioritize audio more higher than the visual. That's just me. I'm huge on audio. I need the sound to be good. I need the audio to be good. I need people to try and hear what's being said, just in speeches and whatnot. So hopefully, I mean, there's a whole bunch of things, but I think just in a nutshell, that's what I currently use. Oh, and the last thing, I have my own modem that I carry around. One of these, a Netgear M5. And yeah, number one rule for me is I don't use anyone else's Wi-Fi. Why is that? Something goes wrong, or as you know, you go into venues, you got 300-400 people jump on their internet. What happens? Goes down, and you're gonna have issues. And on that note, can I share? You know, I think I might have touched on this earlier on. For me personally, and I can speak this for all live streamers. You know, you could be the man one event, and you could be not the man on the other event, you know. So for me personally, I can speak for myself. I literally live and die on each event. One event could literally just ruin me. So that's how much pressure there is, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Speaking of audio, I heard Saki laughing at me during my and I mentioned it. I had dinner with him before I flew back here. I had a little wardrobe malfunction when I was walking down, and I was like, I refused to watch the live stream because of what happened. So basically, guys, Anna chose our shoes, and we had to buy these particular type of shoes, and then like the strap kept coming off as I was walking down the aisle, and I was like, oh my god, this is so embarrassing. But I really appreciate it because I watched the live stream back and you didn't even get it, and all I heard was Saki laughing. So Saki, don't be sad.
I didn't purposely, seriously, honestly, without trying to talk myself up, I purposely cut the shot. But Tima, would you mind just sharing? You weren't walking. Anna, I know you're going to be listening to this, but can you just share? You weren't walking down the aisle. You were walking like a whole bunch of flight of stairs. Yeah, man. Do you want to just share that with people? Like, you weren't just walking So when you're saying you're walking down the aisle, people just, you're just walking down a normal aisle and your shoe just came off. No, it wasn't. Do you want to just touch on that?
Yeah. So, thank you so much. Yeah, I totally forgot. I love Anna, she's one of my best friends, but, and her venue was the most beautiful venue I've ever seen. Winsford, I highly recommend. It was just gorgeous. However, it was like a flight of stairs, but I would say there were like, I don't know how far apart the stairs, but they were really steep stairs, and we were wearing heels, and it was on uneven gravel and uneven grass. So the whole time my shoe strap kept coming off. I don't know what was happening, but and I could have sprained my ankle, honestly. First of all, I don't wear heels on the daily anyway. I'm not really used to wearing heels. Well, honestly, the things that you do for love, I love my mates. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to do it. Ended up being, we still looked gorgeous. Anna looked gorgeous. No one fell. So that was good. No one slipped. I think that was my main concern. I was like, I don't care if my shoe comes off. I care if I slip. So, but it was like really steep. It was actually quite steep, but everything turned out perfect anyway. So that was fine.
May I add?
Yeah.
I saw the shoe. I was like, oh no. Okay. I was like, okay, so I'm not going to get the shot. So I was like, I'm not going to get a shot because if you do thing and you go fall down, you're going to be tumbling down the stairs. You're going to be famous on TikTok or Instagram or whatnot kind of thing. And the second option is I'm bracing myself to catch you. But, thank goodness none of that stuff happened. But yeah, I mean, I think that's one of the beauties of live streaming is you catch. Can I just add, one of the beauty things of live streaming is you catch people in that moment. You just catch people in the unexpected moment where they're laughing, crying, picking their nose, doing things that they're kind of expecting. You can't go back and edit the live footage. You just can't go back and edit the live footage. But yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's the downside of it, Like, again, you can't go back and edit. If I was like picking my nose or if I slipped at the wedding, you can't go back and edit it. But the beautiful part of it is that I would say 90% of events, you capture that real emotion. Like, that's where get that raw, the mafana moments, Anna made me, like, her first dance with her dad made me cry. She was crying the whole time. You get to really feel those moments. Whereas I feel like with videography, it's really curated and it's not, I wouldn't say it's not as authentic as live streaming. Let's just say that. Yeah. And that's just my opinion. But yeah, like I said, you attend, we're going way over time, but that's all right.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Yeah, thank you. So you've attended a lot of events. With those mafana moments also come some really sad emotional moments. And, I can imagine as a live streamer, being right in there and capturing those emotions, it might get a little bit tough on you. So if it does become a lot for you, how do you unwind at the end of a working day?
Just go for a walk, listen to some great music, watch something positive, just watch something funny, even though I've already watched it so many times. It's just triggering those emotions. Can I add, LeBron James, he shared something just a wee while ago, is when we have our emotions of excited, I didn't know this, and I can't remember who the book or something he read, but LeBron James mentioned that the emotions of excitement and the emotions of fear is the exact same emotion. So for professional athletes, so for him, he's learned to trigger the fear as excitement. If you kind of like know what you mean. So for me, is when I have those feelings and stuff, I try and watch something that's going to make me happy, or try and watch something that's going to make me laugh or make me feel good inside. There's other ways you can do that. You can have something really yum to eat, which is probably not the best thing to do, but sometimes you have that. You go and treat yourself, and yeah, that's another thing you can do is basically just go and reward yourself. Whether it's shopping or whether it's just going out to a nice restaurant and treating yourself to something special. Yeah.
I should have asked this before. This is just a question that's just come up in my head right now. With equipment, I've seen, Anna used to, actually, I don't know if you know this, but Anna used to be a photographer. She's so amazing behind the lens. She's really talented. She's a real talented photographer. But I know quite a few creatives where they've really had to have a humble beginning with their business. Was that the same for you, or did you just go all in there and make that a massive investment?
Nah, 100%, man. Like seriously, I started humble beginnings. I literally used an old beat up iPad. The screen was smashed, and I bought some old. So this is my early stage where I haven't really committed to the platform that I was currently using at the moment. So basically, I delved into an old iPad mini or something. I can't remember what it was. I was using iPhone 5 SEs, right? And these older models of these gimbals. I think the version 1. And yeah, so, and like I said, I was doing free stuff. Can I just shout out to the guys in Manhattan, in Dominion Road? I think if you don't know where Manhattan is, so back then I said, you know what? when you have your Wednesdays, I'll come and live stream for free. And you go, what's the catch? He goes, there's no catch. I just need to learn a few things, get a few things, So that's where I did a lot of my development at Manhattan and the Dominion Road with that gear that I currently got. So when I was sold on that gear or on this platform, that's when I went all in. You know what I mean? So I think when funny thing, when the pandemic hit, at that time I was using iPhone 11s. Then I started 12s. I skipped the 13s, but now I've gone all in again on the iPhone 14. So.
Oh no, that's cool. I should have asked you that earlier, but I just thought about it now, and I just thought that's really it's always really encouraging, especially for small businesses and up and coming businesses to, not to compare themselves to people who have had that experience. Yeah, that's awesome. But that brings me to the end of our podcast. I'm out of questions. I mean, if you've got anything else you want to share, please feel free to. This is your time. Yeah.
I just wanted to share a couple of things that I think for content creators, like if you do know a lot of these things. So these are a couple of the tools that I use. I want to just give these away. I'll probably send an email to Tima with links to these. You don't have to use them. I'm not getting paid by these people. So number one, I use a hashtag generator or a hashtag scheduler called Flick, and Flick basically helps you. For those who know what hashtags, you already know what it is, but it basically helps you optimize your hashtags for your current Instagram platform and Facebook platform. So for example, if you have 1,000, it will basically give you some ideas on what hashtags that's ideally for you. That's this Flick tool thing. I came across of another let's say social media expert. He's based in New Zealand. Do look him up. His name is Josh. I'll flick you to YouTube. So I follow him. I also talk to him quite often as well, but ideas. And the second thing that I generally use, and this is a game changer. This literally changed my business in the last 3 months. I'm not too sure if you've heard of this, Tima. It's called Repurpose. Have you heard of Repurpose, Tima?
Mm.
No. So what Repurpose is basically you can, for my reels, for example, when I post up a reel onto IG, you have to set it up though. So when I post up one reel to IG, it spits it out to Facebook, it spits it out to TikTok. What else am I on? LinkedIn, Pinterest, and also to my Twitter account. The same thing. So, all right. So it's just yeah. So I think those are a couple of things I just want to touch on is that's a couple of tools that's kind of been game changer for me. And the last thing, seriously, before I just end on this is and you've probably heard this before from all other YouTubers or all podcasters out there. It's just use what you currently got at the moment. You probably I want to wait for the best camera. I want to wait for the best audio or best mic or lights and whatever. You know what I mean? I've got a few errors here. I've messed up in my lighting. I've messed up in lighting. But we all got to start somewhere, whether it's just create content. You don't need an iPhone 14. If you got an iPhone 10X or whatever, use that. Make content. Learn from that. Set some goals. Set some goals for how many followers you want to. And you probably see myself or people like Tima and stuff post constantly. Don't compare yourself to people, to those people. Do something that's manageable for yourself. Do something that you can manage, and don't get burnt out, because literally you can get burnt out. And don't get discouraged. You are going to have bad days. You are going to pump up reels, or you're going to, you probably had this, Tima, you're probably going to think, oh man, this podcast is going to be real good. And you post it up and then you get 2 views. Unfortunately, that happens with all the contents that we posted out. You might spend the amount of time on just making a content or a reel and falls flat on his face. And I did this reel I'm going to finish up. Last one, promise. I did this reel. I didn't think it was going to.
I'm really enjoying it. Yeah.
I did this reel. I didn't even think it was going to be that great, and it turned out to want to be my biggest viewing off them all. I was like, okay, so you really don't know. And like with these hashtag generators and this flick tool that I'm using, it's not a guaranteed success that if you use this tool that's going to give you a biggest amount of reach. It just helps you steer you in the right direction. You know what I mean? So I think that's about it, man. Like seriously, hopefully if you're listening to this and you've come to the end of this podcast and you're trying to get all these tips, do scroll back, because I've been leaving little gold nuggets as we go. I kind of like did that on purpose.
No, that's been amazing. And I love that. Really appreciate your time. And yeah, Leni's right, man. Like, don't compare yourself to others, focus on your journey. I've got mics and stuff, but I don't use it because my podcast is not really about my podcast is really just it's relationship building for me. I think building relationships and sharing connections. Some people, they don't connect, they don't connect because
100%.
they can't be bothered or they're a bit nervous. And that's my main message. It's like, go out there and just chat to people, that's why I don't really invest it. I've got mics and headphones and stuff, but for me, it's just open up the laptop, go, because my purpose is not the same as another podcaster's purpose. My purpose is to do what I can with the time that I have, and just to really have quality conversations straight out, like to have really quality conversations. But anyway, thank you so much. Did you have something else you'd like to add, please?
No, just last thing. Yeah, can I make can I just highlight what you just said? Just be yourself. Yeah, just be yourself.
Be yourself. Yeah. You don't need all the fancy equipment. Honestly, just your personality. Like, be yourself, and you don't have to have the fancy angles and stuff, or maybe you might for your business, but like when you're creating content, honestly, no, don't read too much into it. If you're passionate about it, do it. Because I see a lot of really great content creators, they just fall off because it burns them. They get burnt out. It's too much work. You got to balance the kids, work, creating content. So just like use and invest in those platforms, the software, the tools that you've mentioned, like Flick, all those content planning things. I'm going off on a tangent here, but really invest in those, because that really helps. That's more working smarter than working harder, in my opinion. Yeah. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Nah, unless you got other questions. No, seriously, I like I said, before this podcast, I'm just prepping up for another funeral tomorrow. For those families, just like I said, so grateful that we have this technology, and without me eating up more time, sorry about this, never have I ever thought that I would be in a position to bring families and bring loved ones and connect people through live streaming and being able to be that person to do that. So yeah, never. Who would have thought? I would have never thought that. So I never thought that. So it is an honor and a privilege to be able to be that person, to bring loved ones, family members to whichever event that not only I live stream, but people out there who stream stuff just for the world.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. And it's true. You're doing such an amazing job. I can't compliment you enough. I can't recommend you enough. So thank you so much for being on the podcast. Thank you so much for giving me your time and for sharing a part of your story.
No worries.
And more about your business. And I hope that people tune in and listen and really make that investment towards Lopstream. You won't regret it. You will not regret it.
Thank you.
Not only do you have a live streamer, you've got a hype man. Like, this guy's man. Like, come on guys, bring the energy. And I'm like getting a bit nervous, but
Yeah, no, sometimes I can be over the top sometimes, but it's just trying to get that beast out of the everyone's got it. It's just trying to get it out of them, eh? So nah, it's good. It's good. It's very good.
And it really works, I don't know if it's a Tongan thing, because you're Tongan, Tongans are real mawhana, but like it's an energy that's so useful for events like weddings and birthdays, and events are supposed to bring people together and be happy. Even for funerals are celebrations. I mean, celebrations of people's lives, and that's your energy is very much appreciated. So thank you so much.
No problem.
Yeah. So what we'll do, we'll keep in touch. I'll post this up for you guys to view and to listen. And thank you so much. And I'll pop your social medias in here as well.
No worries, Tima. Thank you.